Today, I'm gonna go over all of the best sleeping pads in 7 categories so you can find the best pad for you, all the way from the best affordable pad to the warmest, the most comfortable. While everyone's preferences are different, the winners of these awards are based off of my testing of over 60 sleeping pads over many years and hundreds of nights in the backcountry. I don't want to toot my horn too much, but I'm not sure there's anyone who's tested as many pads as thoroughly as I have. We're gonna start with the award for the warmest sleeping pad, and the priorities for this category have to do with the fact that I backpack in the Canadian Rockies in the wintertime, where temperatures often get down to -30, -40 degrees Celsius, and there's 2 things that I prioritize at those temperatures: reliability and warmth. And while we've recently had some new entries into the winter camping sleeping pad market, my go-to is still the Thermarest X-Therm. The X-Therm is the only pad that's been consistently and reliably warm for me at temperatures below -20 degrees Celsius. And while other pads have been chasing the X-Therm for warmth using different forms of reflective heat loss technology, what makes the X-Therm stand apart is its ability to deal with convective heat loss due to its triangular core matrix. The triangular core matrix creates tiny pockets of air inside the pad, which really increases the effective warmth of the pad and maximizes the efficiency of the reflective insulation. There's really only one bad thing with the X-Therm, and that's its comfort. It uses horizontal baffles, which I find not very comfortable as a side sleeper. My arm goes numb and falls asleep, but luckily in the wintertime, I'm often sleeping on my back, and it's not as big of a deal with the X-Therm. An alternative is the new Sea to Summit Etherlite XR Pro. It has a really high R value above 7, a little bit more comfortable than the X-Therm, but not quite as warm. I've used it down to -20, and I think that's kind of getting into its limit as far as warmth goes. The next award is for the best budget sleeping pad. For this category, the priority was having a pad that did not cost a lot. I wanted a pad that cost under $100, but was still a good all-arounder. It's not gonna be the best when it comes to weight, comfort, or warmth, but it gets the job done at 90% of the time. And the winner is the Nature Hike NKTR 5.8 sleeping pad because it hits all of those points. It costs under $100, it's relatively comfortable with a dimpled baffling system, and then it's pretty warm. It'll get the job done at just below freezing or warmer, and then the weight is pretty good as well. It's definitely on the lighter side when it comes to sleeping pads, which is awesome to see with a budget option like this. There's 2 downsides with the Nature Hike. The first one being reliability. There's not a lot of information on this pad as far as how reliable it is. I haven't had any issues, but that's just one person's experience. You really need a lot of reviews from a lot of different people in order to really get a sense of how reliable a pad is. The second issue is the thickness. While this pad is kind of in line with a lot of other sleeping pads on the market, it might be a little bit thin for some people out there who might like a thicker sleeping pad. For the best ultralight awards, the priority was obviously going to be weight, but I didn't want that weight to sacrifice comfort or warmth. That's for the super ultralight category, which we'll get into in a second here. And the winner is the Nemo Tensor All Season. On the surface, it didn't look like that big of a change compared to previous generations, but the changes that were made big improvements. They added a little bit of thickness to it, which I found really helped with comfort by being able to decrease the inflation level a little bit. The warmth got bumped up a bit as well. And then I found that the top material is a little bit different and a little bit more comfortable compared to previous versions as well. The downside with the Nemo Tensor All Season is while I did find it to have improved comfort, it's still not as comfortable as some of the heavier pads out there that are more comfort focused. An alternative ultralight pad is the Thermarest X-Lite, which has been the go-to for thru hikers and ultralight backpackers for years because it has pretty much the best warmth to weight ratio. It's going to be quite a bit lighter than the Tensor All Season, but also I find quite a bit less comfortable. And that brings us to the award for the best super ultralight pad. This pad needed to be as lightweight as possible while still maintaining a regular size and being warm enough for 3-season conditions. And I have the winner in my pocket here. It's the Nemo Tensor Elite. This pad kind of blew my mind with how comfortable and warm it was for how lightweight it is. It's insanely lightweight, one of the lightest pads ever made, and I slept surprisingly comfortable on it, partly due to the stretchy nature of the top material, but then also I was warm. I was warm down to 5 degrees Celsius, which I wasn't necessarily expecting for a pad that has such a low R value. So if you're looking for as light as you can go while still being warm enough, comfortable enough, then definitely take a look at the Tensor Elite. The one downside with this pad is that it's insanely fragile. It feels fragile, at least. We don't really have that many reports of people using it for a long period of time yet, so we don't know what the reliability ratings are, but you got to be taking care of it. You can't be setting it up on the ground, set it up inside your tent, and try to avoid poking things as much as possible. Since the Thermarest Uberlight got discontinued, there's not really any competition or alternatives in the super ultralight category, so if that's your jam, just take a look at the Tensor Elite. For the most comfortable pad award, the priority was achieving comfort through pressure relief, stability, and warmth, with the overall metric being getting a good night's sleep. And the winner is the Thermarest Neoloft. The standout feature with this is the super stretchy top and thickness. I tested pretty much all of the comfort-focused pads on the market this year, and my big takeaway was that a stretchy top material made the biggest difference when it came to pressure relief and comfort. To my surprise, in a lot of cases, it made a bigger difference than the baffling system of the pad, which is why the Thermarest Neoloft with horizontal baffles is still a very comfortable pad, and in some cases more comfortable than pads with a dimpled baffling system like the REI Helix and Etherlite XR. Part of having a stretchy top material means that you need a lot of thickness for the pad, and the Neoloft delivers on that with 4.6 inches of thickness. So really good pad if you're a bigger person who bottoms out other pads, and then you just want something that's going to be comfortable. It's also relatively lightweight and compact for how big and comfortable a pad it is. The bad thing with the Neoloft is that it is relatively heavy. It's still not a lightweight pad. For some people, the stretchy material and the thickness of the pad might lead you to feel like it's a little bit balloony. An alternative is the REI Helix. It's not nearly as thick, but it does have that dimpled baffling system, which when the pad is fully inflated as much as you can get it, I find is really comfortable. I've had so many good nights sleep on the REI Helix, more good nights sleep than basically any other pad on the market, and it's still one of my top recommendations if comfort is your focus. I'll have links to the REI Helix, the Thermarest Neoloft, as well as all the pads we're talking about today down in the video description. Then we have the award for the best all-around sleeping pad. The priority for this pad was being able to do everything well, basically no compromises at all, other than maybe price a little bit. And the winner is the Exped Ultra 5R. If you want a little bit of a lighter weight version that's not as warm, then the 3R is also a really good option. But the 5R is super warm, especially for its weight, and then has a nice, soft, stretchy top material with vertical baffles that really I find are more comfortable than horizontal baffles for side sleepers. It's also a really good weight for how warm and comfortable it is, and a pretty good price as well. We didn't really have to compromise too much on price with the Exped Ultra 5R. The downside with the Exped Ultra 5R is that it's not really a master of any one thing, and depending on your needs, another pad may suit you better if you prioritize weight, comfort, or warmth a little bit more and aren't less necessarily looking for an all-arounder. An alternative is the new Sea to Summit Etherlite XR. It's not quite as warm as the Ultra 5R, but it could be a little bit more comfortable for some people, and it's a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to use. It's another good all-around pad. Then we have a new category that I'm introducing into some of my awards for this year, and it's the most innovative award. And for this category, the priority was a pad doing something outside the box, trying something new, and just generally being innovative. And the winner is the Thermarest Neoloft. Thermarest did a bunch of really cool new things with this pad. They took their tried and true triangular core matrix and ThermaCapture technology and then put it in a really thick pad. And they're able to do that by using a 3D construction. So with a lot of other pads, it kind of just looks like two pieces of fabric that are melded together on the sides. But with the Neoloft, you have a side to the pad, which allows it to have a really good thickness while still having a lot of good effective surface area. They're also the first pad to really push the limits of stretchiness for a top material, and I haven't really found another pad other than the Neoloft that uses such a stretchy top material, but it works so well with the Neoloft, and hats off to Thermarest for making a pad that's actually comfortable and warm and not super heavy. I know I'm gonna get a bunch of comments of what about this pad, what about that pad, especially with pads like the Big Agnes Rapide, maybe the Zoom UL, but let me just assure you that if there's a pad out there I've probably tested, especially if it's from a mainstream brand, it just didn't really stand out in any way to win any of these categories, and that's why it's not on the awards list. If comfort is your focus, go check out this video where I test out 4 of the top contenders for comfort sleeping pads. I put them through the ringer in back-to-back tests, really kind of tease out what the nuances of comfort are with sleeping pads, and then end up crowning a winner of what the most comfortable pad is. And spoiler, it is the Thermarest Neoloft, but it's still worth watching the entire video. I'm sure you'll learn a lot.